Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at uranium energy. It is time for another update, and on this chart, on the long time frame, for any of you who might be new, we have been tracking this idea of a triple 1-2-1-2-1-2 setup, and we are now looking to develop a larger third wave to the upside that actually has quite extensive targets around the $130 area. I have drawn that in the previous videos, the more exact approximation, but yeah, again, it's an approximation, so even if I miss the fibs just a little bit for such an extension, it varies significantly, but it is around the $135 area, the ideal target for the third wave, this third wave to the upside. Now, internally, within this structure, from this last 1-2 setup, we have been tracking this development to the upside ever since we were around this area, and we had probably like 10 trade setups that were successful, one that wasn't on a very short time frame that actually signaled to us that this is likely developing in a leading diagonal in an additional wave 1 to the upside. So we are tracking an additional 1-2 to be built. And we have also been providing insight on where we might have topped, and like a day or the day before, we actually completed this movement to the upside, and we have been looking for a top in this area, and we were starting to look for a larger correction, which actually came quite successfully in terms of the expectations. And yeah, here is the internal count that we have been tracking. So on the larger perspective, we have a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, a third wave up, and we are now looking for a correction in a wave 4 before we push higher in the fifth wave to the upside. Now, as I was saying, we are tracking a leading diagonal within this structure to the upside. Unfortunately, it failed most likely to build an impulse. I do still have here the blue scenario that would still allow for such a pattern to develop, and it will be a bit difficult to actually track this because, yeah, the support zone for the blue interpretation, where we are looking at a series of 1-2 setups that has developed over time on this chart, actually overlaps heavily with the support zone that we have here for wave 4. Now, it does and a lot earlier, but if we don't break this support zone, it will be very difficult to tell if we are actually in the fifth wave to the upside for a significant amount of time. Now, eventually we will be able to, because yeah, if this is actually a 1-2 setup and we are building here a third wave to the upside, we are expecting actually a very strong movement to develop. Now, I cannot even give you a target just yet because yeah, I don't assume that we have bottomed here in this wave 2. And in the previous videos, we have been looking for the development of this structure, this correction, and I provided you some resistance areas to be looking out for. They worked out nice, but today it seems we have probably reset here this wave B, and if I were to provide a count for this internal structure within the wave B, I would probably mark it as a WXY pattern that has developed. It is highly corrective in each of the waves. I cannot really even count a 5-wave structure within this movement to the upside, so yeah, it's probably not a wave C, and that pretty much leaves us with an ABC structure that has been developing here. Now, in this wave 4, we are generally looking to find support in the area between the $12 level all the way down to the $8.4 level. And as long as we stay above the 61.8% retracement at the $8.4 level, we are still looking for a reversal to the upside and continuing this trend in the wave 5 and forming a new high. Now, here in the small time frame, as I was mentioning, not much happened, but we did reset the B wave top and we pretty much maxed out the resistance area. We did push almost to the 78.6% retracement perfectly, and I assume now that we have probably started the C wave to the downside. Now we finally have a more reliable structure. We did have some attempts to form it in a more direct fashion in this area, but yeah, clearly it failed, and now we are doing a do-over. Now, is it possible to still push higher? Well, it is, but I don't find that a likely scenario. It's not something I'm focusing on. The structure is highly corrective in the movement to the upside, and yeah, it does look a lot more impulsive, or not even necessarily impulsive, but a lot more clear in the push down, where yeah, especially what has developed since we reset this wave B topped does look like a third wave that would be developing in this very moment. Now I can give you an ideal target for a wave C that we would be tracking right now, and it would be at the 100% extension of the wave A, which is at the $11.8 level, overlapping actually perfectly with the 50% retracement that we have here for the blue support zone in the blue scenario. Now I'm not saying it will get there or that it will stop there. I am, however, looking for a 5-wave structure to the downside to fulfill this pattern in a wave C. Now, again, this doesn't need to form, it doesn't even need to form a wave C. We don't have a clear zigzag pattern developing actually. In fact, I might add that this is an ABC pattern that has developed in the first A wave down. So yeah, realistically, it could be possible to be in a larger WXY correction that would be occurring. And in that case, I wouldn't have a 5-wave move to the downside in the wave C. I would have an ABC pattern in the wave Y. But nonetheless, the 100% extension of the first wave down is the target. Now, for this smaller time frame, there really isn't much else to add. We are continuing to push lower and lower. Momentum does seem to keep going lower, and yeah, I am pretty optimistic in fulfilling this pattern that we have here in white, either completing after this a wave 2 possibly, or a wave 4 correction. But I don't exclude also the possibility that this could turn again. These could extend, so each wave could extend, meaning that this, after we have here an ABC pattern, for example, complete, I could then have here an A wave down that would be complete instead of the correction, the entire correction being complete, then a B wave up, and then a C wave that could take us even lower. So keep your options open, but if you really are interested in entering for the continuation of this uptrend and you want to make sure you are not missing the entry, even the first levels should be considered at least consider them into your strategy. If you want to get an entry here, if you don't, it is your choice, but do at least consider them. And yeah, for now, there really isn't much else to add. I gave you the target, I gave you the support zones. Yeah, I suppose we could also mention the blue support zones, that support zone that is between the $12.5 level all the way down to the $10 level. And if we break below the 78.6% retracement here, again, the likelihood of the blue scenario playing out reduces greatly. And if we break below this low, this beginning of the wave 1 at the $9.2 level, it would be formally invalidated, and we would really be completely left only with the white scenario for continuation higher. So yeah, for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.